another edition of Lumberjack Logic. I'm your host, Neil Johnson, with some crazy developments out of the state of Texas. I'm gonna share a phone call Tucker Carlson had with Greg Abbott. I don't know how many of you have seen that. Please, though, as we're starting this is a huge story. Smash that like, chat in with where you're from, and let's really get this stream out there. But this is honestly, it's one of the craziest things. I never thought I'd live to see the day. In some ways, this is pretty nutso. Okay, but yeah. So just a little bit ago. So what happened? Just if you're not up on the story, what's going on is, of course, Texas wrote that letter. We covered that yesterday. Greg Abbott wrote the letter citing the Constitution and everything there. Then the Biden regime basically said, "Hey, you've got till 1 p.m. today, 24 hours to clear your people out, or else." Or else what, Joe? Honestly, or else what? What are you going to have your, do you honestly think that federal soldiers are going to fire on Texas state agents? I mean, what does he think is going to happen here? Anyways, please do smash that like, chatting with where you're from. I got proud to live in Texas. If you're from Texas, write it in the chat right now. I know a number of you will be. Casper, Wyoming's on, Southern Oregon and whatnot. But yeah, think about the lunacy of this threat by Joe Biden. Okay. And how many of you, let me ask this question, because this just broke. Tucker just released this. How many of you have heard the call between Joe Biden and Tucker Carlson that took place just a few minutes ago? Anybody, yes or no? Just chat in, see if we need to start with that and bring everybody up to speed. But basically, I mean, threatening the state of Texas. This is the same guy who ran around talking about using F-15s against Americans. AR-15s, they're going to need some F-15s. People have not heard this. All right, so we're going to start there. This is going to blow your ever-loving mind. This is Tucker Carlson. He's on the phone with Greg Abbott. Greg Abbott is actually in India working on a deal there, I think a trade deal with Texas. So doing the business of the state of Texas in some way, shape, or form. So let me just hit this. Okay.
The Court of the United States ruled that the Biden administration is legally allowed to open the border by force to cut down razor wire along the Rio Grande sector.
There you go. Oh, what do we got?
Of the U.S.-Mexico border in Texas.
Hold on, I'm going to bring it forward.
Usual suspects voted for this: Minnesota Mayor Elena Kagan, Ketanji Brown Jackson, but they were joined by so-called conservative justices John Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett. So in response to this ruling, which shocked many, the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, drafted a letter, not simply to the administration, but to the world. And here's part of what it says. Under President Biden's lawless border policies, more than 6 million illegal immigrants have crossed our southern border in just 3 years. That is more than the population of 33 different states in this country. This illegal refusal to protect the states has inflicted unprecedented harm on the people all across the United States. Abbott goes on to say the state of Texas has the authority under the Constitution to, quote, protect itself. That authority is the supreme law of the land, and it supersedes any federal statutes to the contrary. And then, following very quickly, 25 other states with Republican governors signed a letter pledging their support to Texas and its constitutional right to defend itself and this country. Those states include Ohio, Florida, Utah, Nevada, and many others. And then the Biden administration responded. The administration threatened these states, and particularly Texas, with a, quote, 24-hour deadline to allow Border Patrol to reopen the border and to take down the barbed wire. Clearly a collision course. What happens next? We're thankful to be joined now by Governor Greg Abbott of Texas, who joins us by phone from India. Governor Abbott, thank you so much for joining us. If the administration declares that it plans to federalize the National Guard of the state of Texas, your National Guard, what will be your response?
Well, first, I'll be shocked. That would be a boneheaded move on his part, a total disaster. But for one, as you might imagine, we are prepared in the event that unlikely event does occur to make sure that we will be able to continue exactly what we've been doing over the past month, and that is building these barriers, whether it be the concertina wire or other anti-crime border barriers, whatever we've been building. The Biden administration is now trying to attack us because of it. And we will continue to do exactly what we're doing to expand our denial of illegal entry into the state of Texas.
with state employees, I assume, not with National Guard, but can you envision a scenario in which you would put armed state employees on the border instead of the National Guard of Texas?
We do have armed state employees on the border as we speak right this minute, and the Texas Department of Public Safety, as well as other law enforcement officers, as well as National Guard from other states. And you can be assured there will be more National Guard from other states and more law enforcement officers within the state of Texas and other states. And Tucker, I just signed a new law in the state of Texas that will go into effect on March the 5th that authorizes any law enforcement officer in the state of Texas to be able to arrest anybody coming across the border illegally.
Have you spoken to the president or anyone from the Biden White House about what appears to be an imminent collision?
I have not, to be clear. I have spoken to the president about the border. I met him on a tarmac in El Paso and talked to him directly about what was going on. I handed him a letter that had in it immediate solutions he could take that would immediately secure the border without the need of any new law to be passed. Despite the fact that I handed him on altogether 8 different letters, he has refused to ever respond. My point in telling you that, we have laid down the precursor of what's called Article 4, Section 4 of the United States Constitution to show that we have been invaded and we have demanded support from the president to safeguard our state, and they have refused to do so 8 times.
Okay, I want to make a really big point here. So, and we talked about this the other day, but the Constitution of the United States was not developed by the federal government to keep the states in line. Remember, when we first came over here to the United States, our ancestors on the Mayflower and everything, they were very opposed to a federal government. So there were states, and they did not even want to join up as a federal government. But eventually they decided that for foreign threats, basically invasions, that they needed to. They wanted to have that kind of power, that kind of unity to take on foreign threats. And so what they did was they created the federal government bound by the Constitution, people, so that the federal government could not run amok over the states. Not so the federal government could utilize and try and use the Constitution against the states, because what you need to understand is that Joe Biden is trying to use one of the very clauses that Governor Greg Abbott has set forth to actually use against Greg Abbott to say that he can send federal forces down there to, kick Texas away from securing their own border. This is pure madness. Now, I'm going to play the rest of this call by Greg Abbott and Tucker Carlson. I'm going to ask you guys, smash that like. Do not let the mainstream media, that's right, mainstream media, spin this narrative. Get this out as quickly as we can, okay? So smashing the like button and sharing it and commenting really help out a lot. Here we go. Back to Tucker.
And that authorized me
Greg Abbott.
To declare an invasion under Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution to make sure that Texas is going to be able to use every tool in our arsenal to defend our state.
Of the couple of dozen Republican-led states who've pledged support for you, how many do you think would send National Guard to Texas?
I'll be shocked and disappointed if almost all of them do not send. There have been about 10 so far that have sent National Guard or other law enforcement. They now are joined together with us. And this is a fight for the future of America, and they all know it. And so I believe that they will all be in on this effort.
It's just a remarkable moment. And I know you're heading out, but my final question is, how do you see this resolving? What happens next?
Well, Texas is going to continue to expand the border barriers that we are erecting, the razor wire that we're putting up, and to continue to gain control of more land over the coming months. I believe, however, that this will all come to an end on January the 20th of next year, because I believe a new president will be sworn in, a president who will actually enforce the immigration laws of the entire country, not just the Texas border, but New Mexico and Arizona and California and the Canadian border also.
Amen.
And we will have safe and secure borders once again, because we will have a president who actually will enforce the laws of the United States of America.
But in the next year, are you concerned about any kind of conflict between state forces, whether state employees or National Guard, and federal forces?
So, Tucker, all we can do is be as prepared as possible, deploy as many people as possible, do as much as possible to put up more border barriers and deny illegal entry. and our head is down. We're working hard, regardless of what the Biden administration is doing.
Governor Greg Abbott of Texas joining us now from India. Thank you very much, Governor.
Okay, now there's so much to unpack in that, people. But I want you to think about what Greg Abbott just said. He's not going to see. He's very smart in how he's phrasing this. He's not going, well, we're going to have an armed conflict with the federal government. What he is saying, though, is that 10 states have already sent National Guardsmen down there. He's also stating the fact that, and liberals are freaking out over this because they're running around right now going, oh, Beto O'Rourke and these freaks who got no balls whatsoever are all of a sudden saying, oh yeah, he needs to get tough. Joe Biden needs to get tough on Texas. Isn't Beto O'Rourke a citizen of Texas? I mean, what kind of moron is he? Anyways, but it's all going like, oh yeah, we need to get real serious about Texas, and what we need to do is federalize the National Guard, and then use them to basically what? Kick Greg Abbott out of office, take the Texas Department of Public Safety off the border, these types of things. This is absolutely wild. Okay, so I saw somebody say Abbott wouldn't call Tucker, or he's been wanting to talk to him for a long time, probably because Greg Abbott is smart enough to realize he doesn't want this to turn into an actual firefight, folks. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. But, that may be where this ends up. I don't know. But just understand that Greg Abbott just continually said all Texas can do is continue to prepare for what's coming. So across Twitter right now is trending, I stand with Texas. Stand with Texas. I stand with Texas because everybody's lining up now. There are 25 states, 10 that have sent material support in the form of National Guard troops to the state of Texas. And if you caught one of the key lines that he said there, they understand that this is a fight for the very future of our country. If we abandon this fight, we have nothing. Okay, yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on right now. And we need Donald Trump back in the White House. And Fani Willis, I dropped a beautiful video on Fani Willis today, people. Make sure you check that out because she got destroyed in 3 different formats yesterday, and you need to see it. And share that around as well. We are combating a narrative still. There's so many people who still get their media coverage from the mainstream media, and they don't understand what's going on with the World Economic Forum, with our border crisis in all reality. They think it's like it's humanitarian, it's unhumanitarian to, kick people off the border. No, it's not. It's actually inhumane to bring people across the border. One of the great things that George made a phenomenal point, you guys know him, he's at Firebrand Media, but George made such a fantastic point. He said, actually, what's going on is that the border, the cartels, the Biden regime is funding the cartels by keeping the border open because those coyotes get money for funneling people across. Okay? So they're funding drugs, the fentanyl that's pouring in over the border to kill. This is the destruction of our nation. Make no mistake about it. And I want you to think about how maniacal and loony this is, because this is an election year. Now, in any sane person's world, you would never, I repeat, never make statements like this, that like Biden is making in an election year. I'm going to come down, I'm going to bring the military down to the southern border. But this, again, he's the same guy who said, people think they're going to arm themselves with AR-15s, but the fact is, you got to be ready to defend yourself against F-15. So what, Joe, you're going to send, this is the way this guy talks. He's not mentally right in the head, but he's not running the show either. He's a plagiarist. He's a liar. And, I've got a great video clip on him. I got to make another video about Joe with this other video I've got, kind of a throwback, and it'll show you some things. But I'm gonna share some responses. So George, you can follow him on Twitter. Actually, if you want to, in the description below is the link to my Twitter account. If you're on there, you need to set up a Twitter account anyway, because I'm going to tell you, folks, if you think censorship has been bad in the past, I think it's going to ratchet up this year. I don't know how they don't do it with the abysmal polling numbers of Joe Biden. I mean, something is going to happen this year, and I don't understand. Any leads on citizen volunteer organizations at the border? There is a huge convoy going on right now that is lining up. It's already over 20 miles long. That is going to be meeting in 3 cities on the border in California, Arizona, and Texas. So people are going to Eagle Pass, Texas. There's a huge convoy forming up right now that's going to arrive on February 3rd. I have reposted that on my Twitter account, so you can see that over there. So I encourage you to just go down below and follow my Twitter, and I've reposted the thing to the. So if you're down there and are able to join in on the border convoy, I encourage you to. A lot of people are like, "Oh no, the feds are going to get you and stuff." Look, I mean, if you, so long as you don't go nuts, just go down there and make a presence. If we can't patriotically and peacefully protest in this country, we don't have a country anymore, people. Okay? We do not have a country. If we can't do that, if our freedom of speech is that stifled, that you're living in fear to that extreme, we do not have a nation anymore. Certainly not a nation worth protecting. Anyways, yeah, the Protect Our Border Convoy. You can find out about it. I think actually even Fox News did a piece on it, which is, whoa, Fox News did a piece. Oh, boy. In fact, that is, yeah, again, just go to the down below, and I'll find it here, and I repost it to X or Twitter right now. But set up a Twitter account for yourself, and just follow me. My link's down below, and then follow the people I'm following, and you're going to get great news. I'll just put down Border Convoy. By the way, the Canadian Truckers Convoy, which I followed extensively, Justin Trudeau there is a trucker convoy. Here it is. I'm just finding it for you so I can repost it. Oh yeah, look at this. See, it's already rolling right there, heading to the border. Okay, right now, this is the trucker convoy. The video stalled out on me there, but here. Here, I'm going to turn the volume off so I don't get whatever that's called copyright infringement stuff. But this, you can see those trucks are lined up forever, but that is forming up right now. And so there is a trucker convoy headed to the border. Mr. Sausage, one of the great follows on X. Here we go. I'm going to repost this right now. So if you go to my Twitter, you can get that. But here's and I'll pull this up right here and show you. But just so you know, Peaceful Assembly convoy begins January 29th. February 3rd is when it, calling all truckers, bikers, law enforcement, veterans, military, elected officials, business owners, ranchers, and freedom-loving Americans. So it's takeourborderback.com, takeourborderback.com. Look, they can't arrest 76 million people, 71 million people, whatever, however many it was that voted for Trump that actually believe in freedom and this country. I'm sorry, they can't. Okay, so stop being afraid. Just please, if you're afraid, stop being afraid. Okay, it's very key. So the other thing I want to do, and I keep, I'm sorry, I'm getting kind of scatterbrained. I'm trying to get all this to you, and I'm just watching as new stuff is coming in. But they're not actually, I'm just going to read from a tweet I actually did. I'll find this. I said, well, George, this was in response to George's tweet when he was putting out the news that this was taking place. 1 p.m. Hey, what time are we at here? So 1:19. What's going on, Joe? Have you sent in your feds to, go take on the state of Texas yet? But I responded to him. I said, well, George, they certainly aren't acting like it's an election year, are they? Makes you wonder what is going on. Does the Biden regime feel that the vote is that rigged? Do they want a war to suspend the voting? With the millions that have been let in, is it still not enough to get enough votes for them? There are so many possibilities as to why a president would act like this, and none of them are good, folks. None of the things you can come up with are good. This is the great replacement theory that the left is always saying is a conspiracy theory, and that we're racist for thinking about it. But they are allowing those people in for a reason. And, they're acting like this is all predetermined, like our votes don't matter and so on. I just something. The game is afoot, as they say, and I don't know fully what is going on, but none of the outcomes are good. But again, Greg Abbott is saying, "Hey, we're going to stand up here in Texas." This is the same regime. You have to think about this. Peter Navarro just got sentenced to 4 months in prison yesterday for defying a congressional subpoena against the J6 sham committee. While on the flip side, Hunter Biden goes in and defies a congressional subpoena and nothing has happened to him. It is contingent upon us, the people, to not let these things stand. And I have I'm going to share what Ted Cruz had to say. I know people have different feelings on Ted Cruz. I like the guy. I'll just come out with that. Some people are like, "Oh, Ted, he's terrible." No, actually, Ted did so much to expose Mitch McConnell and Chuck Schumer and Lindsey Graham during the whole Obama years that I've always appreciated him for that. So I want you to hear what he has to say. He went on Fox News and made a statement.
Well, listen, Texas is right.
Okay, and hold on. I'm going to let it load because somehow my internet's running slow. So I'm going to let that load. But I'm going to let you hear from Ted Cruz, and then also I've got another clip I want to share with you. Hey, somebody super chatted me. I'm going to check that out. But Joe Biden was just, I think today. Let me see. I've got Lillian May Briggs. I think it's Mayorkas. It says meiosis, but I think it's Mayorkas. Didn't include follow orders. It said follow lawful orders. Meiosis didn't include. It said follow lawful orders. Mayorkas actually is coming up for impeachment. They are doing that. They're moving ahead with that. This is all causing this to take place. But just today, Joe Biden suspended all LNG sales. Okay. You meant oath. Got it. All LNG, that's liquefied natural gas. So natural gas sales. Now, do you guys remember what happened last year? Okay. Well, what happened last year was they blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. Europe was cut off from natural gas, and their source for natural gas became us. Okay. So now, what's Europe supposed to do? I mean, you blow up Nord Stream, you're trying to hurt Russia. This whole thing doesn't, people, the only way this makes sense is if you are longing for the world's demise. Okay? But over in suspended sale to Europe, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So as I watch all this take place, and the farmers are protesting big time in Germany right now. You guys have seen that. France as well, Belgium, Poland, all over. This whole World Economic Forum crap that cow farts are going to take us out, and that farming needs to stop, and so on. It's all part of this same piece because they say that the biggest threat to you, people here in the United States of America, is not a mass border invasion. It's not Iran going nuclear. What is the biggest threat? People see who knows what the biggest threat is, okay? And I will find the statement here by Kami Joe, China Joe. Okay, I want to see in the chat, though, what do you guys think the biggest threat to humanity is right now? Okay? Glad you're watching from the start. Divan Hate. Anyways, let me see. Oh, yes, there we go. Somebody got it. Climate change. That's what he says. That's what Joe Biden says. The biggest threat is not the border. It's not all these other things. It is the climate. Cow farts, people. That's right. Cow farts affecting the ozone layer. That's the biggest threat right now. And so what he did was he suspended the sale of liquefied natural gas. So because somehow LNG is one of the cleanest sources, people. When they're taking out one of the cleanest sources of energy that they're full of shit. I don't cuss much, but I don't know how else to say that. It's just, Yeah, the other one, Emil North says, no, it's mega people. That's true. He has said that one too. But that's what's going on out there, people. And here, let's see if this Ted Cruz piece is loaded.
Well, listen, Texas is right.
God, this sucks. My internet sucks.
Proud to stand with our governor. I'm proud to stand with our state legislature. Joe Biden has created a crisis, and he has created what is an invasion of the state of Texas, and it's an invasion of the country. Under Biden, 9.6 million illegal immigrants have come into this country. This is deliberate. It is massive. And under federal law, it is the federal government's responsibility to stop this, but Joe Biden and the Washington Democrats are defying federal law. And so the state of Texas is stepping up and saying, we're going to defend ourselves. And Greg Abbott is exactly right that Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution gives states the authority, what Justice Scalia referred to as the sovereign rights of states, to protect themselves from an invasion. That's what Texas is doing. Well, listen, Texas is right.
He's right. I mean, that's all they're doing is protecting their border. Oh, look, I got a couple of our super chats here. I said, took me 4 tries to watch your live F YouTube. That's from Occam's Razor. Yes, Occam's Razor. You guys know that. You know, the simplest explanation is oftentimes the explanation. That's why, you know, you got to watch all the theories and whatever fly out. I'm going to refresh here and see if there's anything new. But as I'm doing that, too, just want to mention Gold Group, MidasGoldGroup.com, or text Lumberjack to 232-425. And I mean, if people, if what we're watching, what we're witnessing, if that isn't a warning sign for sound money, I don't know what is. Silver and gold have long been the safe havens. I don't trust Bitcoin and all this digitally encrypted crap. I just don't. Because I think about EMPs and all these things. I just don't. But that doesn't mean, you know, you guys do what you want. I want some actual, real, physical, tangible money. And the great thing about Midas Gold Group is you're dealing with veteran owners, not commission salespeople. I'm not saying all commission salespeople are bad. Certainly, I used to work in commission sales. But, you know, when you're actually able to deal with the owners, it's a different experience. So, again, Midas Gold Group, MidasGoldGroup.com, or text Lumberjack to 23425, or you can call them at 480-360-3000, I believe is their phone number. So, but that's, you know, I don't have anything new on this now. Just, you know, the fact is, though, Greg Abbott is prepared. You know, we're seeing something like I'm in shock. I'm just curious where this goes. I mean, Joe Biden is actually threatening a sitting governor of the state of Texas. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. So, yeah, just keep your eye here. We got a bunch. New trending is the Biden administration. Let's see what they have to say. Texas attorney, the Biden administration is working with the Mexican cartels. Oh, wow. Here we go. I got something new for you. Hold on a sec, folks. Attorney General Ken Paxton.
Pretty tough charge. I mean, you are the Attorney General.
Hold on, listen.
Working with the cartels. That's a pretty tough charge. I mean, you are the Attorney General of the state of Texas, one of the not just biggest, most important states in the union, an economic powerhouse. Did you just accuse the Biden administration of working with the cartels?
There may not be a written document that says that, but in fact, yes, that's exactly what they're doing. They have turned our border into a place where the cartels know that they can basically drop people off, and they're not trying to hide anymore. I mean, under all other administrations, they used to hide. You know, they try to sneak across the border. Now it comes straight to Border Patrol, and we're like a processing for the cartels. The cartels get paid per person and they make a lot of money on each person. And so the Biden administration is effectively, no matter how you want to slice this,
that's
they
what
are
we just
partnering
said.
with the cartel to get people into our country as fast as possible.
Wow.
Working with the cartels.
That's what George and I just said. So Texas Governor Greg Abbott defends. So Texas just continues to move on. They're putting up more razor wire. They're putting up more border barriers. And that's all taking place. Again, you know, here's a map of the states that are now standing with Texas. 10 of these states have now sent some form of their National Guard troops to Texas. Obviously, my home state of Minnesota, run by that idiot Governor Tim Walz, has not. And then you got Tony Evers over in Wisconsin. I don't know, maybe the legislature of Wisconsin can put forth a bill to send him down there because they can override his sham veto. They could also override a veto, well, in Ohio, but apparently Mike DeWine's getting with it. He's such a rhino. Anyways, but at least Republicans are standing together on this, and all these Republican governors are doing it. Even Chris Sununu has to support Texas right now. Because, he wants to prove that Nikki Haley isn't the World Economic Forum plant that she is. So Chris Sununu's got to go all in on that. So anyways, so I'm just waiting. Somebody said, why are you clickbaiting me? That's not clickbait. This whole thing wasn't clickbait. We were supposed to, at 1 o'clock, Texas had till 1 o'clock. And the Biden regime apparently is not making good on their promise to, go in there on Texas and do that. You just heard a call from Ken Paxton earlier. Maybe you got into the stream late, but Texas is ready. They're ready to defend themselves. And I think this is such a political loser for Joe Biden right now, because what are his options? He either, executes on his threat that he made, which then everybody sees him for the dictator he is, or he just stands down, and then Texas just continues putting up the razor wire. So that's what's going on, folks. I mean, it's nuts. I've never seen anything like it. I remember talking to my daughter yesterday about this, and I was talking with my son, who's 10, and then my daughter's 15, and this is how the conversation went. I made a YouTube short about it, but I was talking to him, and I was explaining what was going on in Texas, how Texas was trying to put up border barriers and razor wire and everything to stop illegals from coming in. And it was a picture. Okay, now I've got it. So it was a picture, and it was a guy cutting razor wire. So my kids asked me, they said, well, what's that? And I said, well, that's razor wire. But, well, what's the guy got? What's he doing? And I said, well, that's a wire cutter. He's cutting down the razor wire. Well, who's he with? And I said, well, he's with Border Patrol. They go, what? Border Patrol? He goes, he's with Border Patrol? And then my daughter chimes in from upstairs. So you mean like what? Now Border Patrol is the welcoming committee for these illegals that are coming in the country? And I said, exactly. See, the kids, they get this. It doesn't make any sense. Like, why would Border Patrol, the people who are supposed to be patrolling our borders, doing this? I mean, right? It doesn't make any sense. And I'm going to tell you something else. Here's some great insight for you people. Most of the men and women of the Border Patrol signed up to be at the Border Patrol because they wanted to be a part of a law enforcement body that actually stopped illegal activity. So I can guarantee you, Joe Biden may think he's going to get his federal agents to somehow kick the state folks of Texas and other National Guardsmen off the border. But I think that's where he learns how little power he actually has. So that's what's going on down in the Texas border. Remember to subscribe if you're new. Check out my other sponsor, MyPillow, MyPillow.com, for big savings. I see Matt Cassoni's on the stream. I just wanted to say hi to you, Matt, while I saw your name chat in there. But MyPillow.com, they got up to 80% off right now. But get yourself some real money at MidasGoldGroup.com. Again, tell them I sent you, and you can get some free silver with a calling with whatever. With a qualified order. Folks, my mind is shot. I need food, but I just had to go live as I got that call from Tucker. So anyways, stand strong, folks. And again, check out my Twitter. I just reposted the convoy that's going on down there. So anyways, I love y'all. Keep fighting the good fight. Peace out. Yeah, they made sandwiches too. I need one of those sandwiches right now, man. I'm feeling it.